Good morning, welcome to Tuesday, December 20th, 2022's meeting of the Municipal Airport Authority. Keep in mind, if you're on this call, keep your microphone muted. And if you're going to speak, make sure you unmute and speak up if you're going to visit with us, please. Thank you. Let's do a sound check. Everybody online, can you make sure we can hear you, either by saying yes or thumbs up?
Leo got us, all right.
All right, we got a couple thumbs up.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, November 22nd, 2022. Any objection, changes, comments? None, motion.
I second. I'll make a motion to approve the
Yep.
minutes as published.
Go ahead.
Lind.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Captain.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 2, approve airport vouchers totaling $463,765.26. Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers.
We have a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? Discussion, none, roll call.
Lind.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Captain.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 3, individual vouchers, A through T. Could I get a motion, please?
I have a question about the Fargo Jet Center
Yes.
co-op marketing program. So what is the total payment on that? Like, is this like a half payment?
Yes,
or-
we co-op with them, so 50% of all of the international marketing that they do at dispatcher conferences, overseas and domestically, we've been splitting that cost for booths, where they market Fargo as a destination for aircraft to stop to their customers, refuel, and continue on their stop. It's been very, very successful.
Okay,
I can give you the full invoice so you can see, and I will do that, I'll scan the invoice out so you can see all the different conferences that they go to.
okay. I was just curious about that.
Very good. We have a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second? You have a motion? You did? Okay. We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? None?
Lind.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Captain.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 4, receive the financials for October 2022. We can accept those.
Questions? I don't know if Jamie's on today or anyone from Balance Tracks if they have any questions. So,
Any questions? None? Motion to approve October financials.
Motion.
And a second, please.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? None? Roll call.
Lind.
Aye.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Captain.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 5, receive communication from North Star Aviation Insurance for airport liability renewal.
On the renewal, we got a communication from Mark LePage, increase of $6,438 from current calendar year. So the premium for 2023 will be $79,980 with AIG Aerospace we've had for a number of years. Mark is our broker, goes into the market and recommending that we continue on with AIG Aerospace.
Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Discussion? None? Roll call.
Lind.
Yes.
Cosgrove.
Aye.
Captain.
Aye.
Beckman.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to number 6, discuss cyber insurance policy renewal.
Okay, so we took out a cyber insurance policy. It took quite a bit of time for Annette and Robbins at Bell Insurance. I think they are on today to find us a policy through Cowbell.
Yes.
And Leo is on. Leo's works with SNL Computer. They are managed. They manage all of our IT. And Leo has some, I guess, ideas about maybe we should save our money and not renew this policy. So Leo, do you want to give us your insights with all your experience in the IT world?
Yeah, so it's been my experience, and especially in your environment, that you don't have much exposure because you guys don't store any sensitive data, employee data, anything that would be valuable, I guess. And from an IT perspective, if you guys had an absolute catastrophic, every computer in the network were taken down, your maximum downtime would be a day, more than likely far less, with no data loss. And unless I'm speaking incorrectly, I think Darren and Sean can verify if we have any employee, social security number, driver's license. If not, I think it would be a foolish expenditure, because typically the premiums are high and the payouts are low. That's my position on this.
That's his advice, and we don't store that type of information, so. So I guess that's his recommendation, is our IT services provider manager and consultant. I guess it's up to the board if you want to renew for $6,242.36 or forego it and cancel the policy.
Mr. Chairman, were we requested to get that through the city or through our auditors or?
We were part of the city's cyber policy and during the split.
Sean, can I just, this is Annette. Sean, can I just add a couple comments to that?
Sure.
I agree in the sense that you guys don't store any personal data, but that's just one type of the cyber crime. There's so many other things that these professional hackers can get in and hack your system. I'm not saying, I'm just here to offer some professional advice. Do you do your own accounting and have your own accounting records and everything on file, Sean? I don't know how that all works, but, we've had situations where we've had hackers hack into clients' accounting softwares. We've had them hold hostage, they call it ransomware coverage, where they hold documents and everything ransom and demand a payout to get it back. We just settled a $1.3 million claim with one of our clients where they had hacked into their system and did some significant damage. So there's more to cyber liability insurance than just employee and customer information. There's a lot of other things they could hack into the system and do damage to, hold hostage information, etc. But it's totally, I agree, it's totally up to your decision. I'm just here to say that there is more significant information involved in that as well.
Yeah, we log into QuickBooks Online, so it's in a cloud.
Okay.
So it's not stored on our system. So there's a
Okay.
login process that you have to go through to get into that. The same with Pro Resources, same with Curves. We just don't store anything locally. But to answer your question, Mr. Cosgrove, this was part of the continuity checklist that we had. And since we did it, we thought we should continue it. Now we have some other opinions on it, so. What's the board's decision? Continue it or?
Well, I guess, Annette, what is the deductible for this policy?
$6,000.
I think right now we have a $1,000 deductible on there. That would come into play. What I could do, Sean, I could send you I think you have a summary of the coverages, but I could send Sean a document that he could share with the board with a list of the coverages that are included, the deductibles that would apply per line, and then along with some claim examples that would help you guys make your decisions.
They do have the full renewal of the quotation, and there's a $5,000 deductible.
Okay, I'm sorry, Sean.
First party expense and first party loss, $5,000, and there's only $1 million coverage limit. So, like I say, this policy would have to be renewed by January 1st, so desired.
Questions of the board or questions of Annette from the board?
So my question was, what does the insurance policy give us? Do they just reimburse us cost to on damage to fix the damage that get caused by a hacking event, or what are we getting for this? How does the insurance policy?
Annette, what is the basic benefit should we get hacked? What is that benefit? Is it equipment? Does it include replacing the software? Can you explain what it does?
Sure, absolutely. So what it does is it's going to pay for any expense that you have to recreate the data that has been stolen or damaged. It is also going to pay any, I'm going to use the word punitive damages if someone comes after you and says that there's, they've suffered a loss because of your negligence in handling information. It's going to pay those damages out to a third party. It has some ransomware coverage if someone hacks in and steals some of your information and holds it hostage. And these criminals will hold it hostage until you pay to get it back. Now, I don't know if that's going to apply to you. We have a lot of that with architects, engineers, places like that have a lot of important documents. Those are just some simple examples of what that coverage is going to provide.
Okay, do we have umbrella coverage through you guys as well? And does it specifically exclude it?
That would not. It would not. We would have to have cyber to go up and over the umbrella to go up and over it. You have to have underlying coverage underneath it.
What are we doing to currently protect our information from being hacked?
Well, Leo, did you hear that? What the systems in place?
Yes. Yep, so I heard that. So from a front end perspective, a proactive perspective, obviously we have our sonic wall in. We're blocking, we're gonna say all the not nice countries, unless we need to make little pinholes through the firewall. We also have real-time antivirus protection and a next-generation firewall. In addition to that, we back up the system comprehensively. It's called the bare metal backup, where we can put you back to a known place, point in time, every single night and at noon. So we get backups, full comprehensive backups, 2 times a day. Where even if someone were to hold our stuff ransom, we could go back to noon of that existing day or any time prior to that event and get you all your data back with no data loss.
Annette, I have a question for you. This is Rick. Does this policy cover in case of our utilities being hacked and power being taken down?
This is just cyber, Rick. It depends on if it would have to go through a cyber liability. It would have to be a.
Okay, I'm reading your endorsements and it says utility fraud attack. So is that an inclusion or an exclusion?
No, are your utilities all, if they hack into your system and can shut everything down, yeah, then that's a covered peril, Rick.
All right.
If someone just goes out and cuts a line or that kind of thing, no, that's not covered, obviously. That's more vandalism coverage. But if someone hacks into the system and can absolutely just void out everything, yes, that is a cyber crime.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I do think in our connected world that if, for that one reason alone, we keep the coverage. Because for $5,000-6,000, should someone access any of the utilities, heating, cooling, remotely for whatever purpose and shut it down on a day like today, that's a substantial impact. So for that purpose, I think I'm in favor of keeping it. Can I get a motion on the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal. It's one of those things where I don't think that we'll ever use coverage, but at the same time, it's fairly inexpensive, so that's what insurance is for. I'll make a motion to approve the renewal.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? None? Roll call.
Lynn?
Aye.
Audrey?
Aye.
Kenny?
Aye.
Heckman?
Hi.
Aye. All right, moving on to number 7, receive SP Plus passenger survey results.
Greg Pearson, are you on? Yes, he is. Okay, Greg from SP
I
Plus.
am. I missed the sound check. I apologize.
No worries, go ahead.
Can I share my screen or do everybody have the report in front of them?
They do have the report in front of them, but we can share if you want.
Okay.
Hold on here.
It's so small. Yeah. It'll be so small on the screen, I think you just look at it in front of us.
All right.
Yeah, I
So,
think so
so
as
just go
well.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah, first and foremost, appreciate the opportunity to share the winter 2022 transportation study that SP Plus conducts on a biannual basis with Fargo Airport. We chose to do the first week of November this time around, mainly because of our dynamic pricing and reservation system that has been in place approximately a year now. So we wanted to really capture the respondents, capture the answers to the survey questions on the cusp of making a year in Fargo with reservations and dynamic pricing. So with that, we asked 3 of the 4 similar questions from the summer of 2022, and we added a 4th question, which I'll get to at the end of the presentation. But on the particular dates in question, November 2nd, November 3rd, we surveyed from 4 a.m. to approximately 8:30 p.m., which you had a late departure with Allegiant on one of those days. And so of those days, we collected 979 responses with 2% increase over the summer of 2022, back when we did this most recently in June of 2022. Your employments for these days were down by about 5%, but we were still able to capture 42% of your employing passengers on those days. We think the increase of our capture rate really had to do with the manner in which we went about capturing the data. And so in previous survey efforts, we would have paper and we would calculate the information and tabulate it at the end of the day or periodically throughout the day. In this particular case, we actually had tablets. So we walked around, we were able to capture the data, input it immediately as we collected it from the passengers. And then from there, it was able to put it in a table for us. So we think just our ability to capture it instantaneously, sort it where it needs to be sorted, allowed us to capture it and get more of the passengers that were flying out, as opposed to missing those folks while we were engaging with others. So we'll definitely keep that in mind going forward and continue to, and then look for ways to further improve it as we continue to do these survey efforts moving forward. So question 1, how did you arrive at the airport? That's obviously the biggest piece of this survey effort. We want to know how you're coming in, and obviously parking being the primary focal point. And if you recall, back in the summer months, parking was down some in comparison to being dropped off. And so we obviously were about 6 months into the reservation dynamic pricing period. This time around, you see a 10% increase of those individuals that decided to park with us as opposed to being dropped off. And in rental car returns, we saw a 6% decrease. And so that's a little bit indicative of the business travel, but your leisure travelers are obviously looking at parking a little bit more as opposed to being dropped off. And we really believe that's because of the flex yield management pricing that we have and the more exposure it has gained since June of 2022. More people are recognizing and realizing that you can get some really good prices if you plan ahead and reserve online. And those folks that are not, that are paying that turn-up rate, or seem to be okay with it. And that was the biggest takeaway with this question, was that we received no complaints or no concerns in regards to the price or the rate increase that you recently approved to go into effect October 1 of this year. So that was very promising. And everybody was overall pleased with that and had no mention of the increase, so to speak. If we look at it over that period, that's a 10% increase for those that decided to park a car. And then there was a 2% decrease with respect to those that were dropped off in comparison to the most recent effort in the summer. It's always good to compare apples to apples, so we look back at the winter, December 2019, still keeping that as our baseline year. And parking a vehicle went up by 4%. And then those individuals that were dropped off actually stayed the same. And again, we we can understand that because it's the winter months, and obviously you can reach out to a loved one and get somebody to drop you off. So, but again, it's still promising that compared to the summer and compared to the winter, we see an increase in individuals choosing to park a car. So we're looking at our TNC usage, and we look at local versus non-local. This is important because it can kind of identify a market that we can tap into based off of the local travel and the local individuals that use TNC. Once again, we're looking at local as anybody that resides in North Dakota or Minnesota, given your proximity to Minnesota. And so one of the things we noticed was that in the winter, in this particular study, local use was 57%, and non-local use was 24%. So the non-local use is a little more challenging, obviously, to tap into. But that local use, that creates a market and a potential market that we can pull from by giving more exposure to your parking products and options that you have out there, such as the new economy lot that you brought online in November, just before Thanksgiving, and just making sure that we have that capacity and also the price point that is really engaging to your parkers. Question number 2, we always want to know where you're coming from and where you reside currently with respect to flying out of Fargo Airport. Once again, to no surprise, North Dakota and Minnesota leads the way. We always want to see what those other states look like, though, and somebody's cheering. And Texas is number 3 again, but it did go down by 3%. If you look at the next page, you'll recall from the summer it was at 8%, and this time around it went down to 5%. Again, that's a little indicative of the business travel. A lot of that in the summer was business driven. This time it's more leisure driven. So even though it went down, it's still ranked as number 3 with respect to your domestic travel. We look at the international piece. It's always good to just kind of have an idea of what your international travel patterns look like, at least for these 2 days. Canada ranked the highest, with 5 in-plane passengers on these particular 2 days. And then South Africa was right behind that at number 2. Business or leisure is commonly, something that airports always want to know about as well. We're still kind of monitoring, engaging, is business travel going to return? And as it returns, it's in a different manner. A business traveler being able to take a leisure trip, but still conduct business while they're traveling. And so that's kind of the takeaway and where we're at. We think this is the new form of business travel, so to speak. And that's just based off the fact that your leisure travel was all but sustained from the summer and into the winter months. If you look at summer, we had 64%, and for leisure travel in November, you were at 65%. And business travel was almost the same as well, 36 and 35 respectively. We look back again at 2019, the winter months of 2019, leisure travel was 7% less. And so that's still promising, the fact that leisure travel has returned post-pandemic. And it's actually been higher, looking at in comparison to 2019. And then business travel obviously is still a little bit down by 7%, but I think it's just a mix of a new way of the business traveler conducting leisure, because a lot of times when we engage and ask that question, we would get the answer of both, and then we have to drill in a little bit more with the passenger and ask a little more, okay, well, what's your primary purpose, so to speak, for this travel? Because a lot of answers was both, in that they're gonna do some fun and have some time to do some things while they're there, but the main reason that they're taking the trip may have been for a business purpose. And so that's kind of an ongoing trend, is what we're seeing with these surveys now. So we drilled down a little bit on the leisure travel piece just to kind of see, how our assumptions shook out. And mainly this is our market base with respect to parking. We want that leisure traveler to park with you. Business traveler can rent a car and do other things. And then there may be opportunities to get the local business travelers to park, obviously. But the leisure travel is mainly going to be that price sensitive traveler that can go online, make that reservation plan in advance and things of that nature. So this is really promising. Again, if we look at the summer, we were at 35% for those individuals that would park with us. The winter months, we're at 43%, so that's an 8% increase. So if you recall on the first slide, it was a 10% increase, and this is 8% of that 10% increase, so to speak. So So this is really promising that we're recognizing and speaking to the leisure traveler, and obviously they're responding to those tools and products that we're offering. And the last question was, are you aware that you can reserve your parking in advance of your trip through the airport's website? If you recall, we inquired about a garage over the summer. This time around, we wanted to ask a different question again, just to make sure that the reservation program is being exposed enough, and is the word getting out? Some of the data show us that it's obviously gaining some traction, but there's still work to be done, obviously. And based off of this, we had a pretty decent percentage, I would say, based off year one, and they're saying about 12% were saying that they were aware of this. But we did obviously cross-reference it with the number of parkers that you had that day in comparison to those that, and we only asked this question to individuals that parked because we didn't want to skew the data and ask it to people that were dropped off or things of that nature. So we wanted to make sure that if you did park a car, were you aware that you could make a reservation? Those that said that we're not aware, they were very excited to hear that that option exists. And so we would just take that moment at that time and then just explain to them how they can go about doing it and the benefits thereof of doing it. And so that was really promising. On a side note, a little separate from the survey, but somewhat related, we have monitoring, which we always do, the revenue and trends, particularly since the rate increase. And so we'll be happy to share some of our analysis on that at a future date. But things are looking really good since you all approved to increase your rates in October 1st. And so that's promising. One thing we always look at when we look at that is we want to make sure your transactions are not going down in lieu of the increase. And thus far, that's not the case. You have the same amount of transactions each month, if not more, despite the increase in the rate. So that's a very promising trend that we see that we suspect will be sustainable. So that concludes my report, but I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Greg, are we seeing most payment by credit card at this point now?
Very much so, and I can get you some data on that. At most airports, we're anywhere between as high as 90% credit card transactions. At your airport, the last time I checked, we was above 90%. It's still a space. Obviously, airports have to kind of offer all options and be accommodating to all passengers. But to answer your question, yes, we're seeing a heavy uptick in credit card transactions.
Can we access through the credit card companies zip codes of where the cards are, so we can monitor on a regular basis where this traffic is coming from?
So you kind of see your catchment area, so to speak, where people are coming from.
I would think that the credit card companies, you can't buy personal data, but you could get zip code origin of the cards, and then we could track and eventually market directly to those zip codes where we're seeing.
Right. I don't know the answer to that offhand, but I can tell you I can check and look into that and see if they would be willing to share that information. One other thing I would offer, and I know this is a small sample period, a 2-day transportation study, but that's something we can also look at engaging and presenting when we do the next transportation study as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't offer it, they'll sell it.
Right. But no, we can find out that answer at least and, see how difficult, if at all, if that would be an option.
John, I think we have someone in the audience that'll address that in a bit.
Okay.
During my presentation, I'll talk about cell phone data. That there's certain software that you can capture a significantly larger sample size.
Yep.
And it's not, you don't get some of the public information outcry from credit card data.
Sounds good, thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you. Sean, anything?
My pleasure, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. All right, moving on to number 8. Go ahead.
Passenger terminal expansion and modification project, we've talked about one of our funding sources would be to borrow from the Bank of North Dakota. They have a program that the airport authority is eligible for as a political subdivision to borrow $40 million at 2% interest over a 30-year term. And I was asked to initiate that process, so I engaged Kylie Merkel, who was the architect at the Bank of North Dakota for the airports. And she had provided some information that, there's a significant amount of information that we would provide them to start the application process. The good news is we have an account at the Bank of North Dakota, which helps significantly to expedite this process. But one of the things is once our loan is approved, we have to draw from it within 1 year of date of approval. So the concern would be is that we would draw funds when we don't need them within a year. So I had sent some information off to Leibowitz and Horton, who is a financial partner in the terminal expansion, along with the Mead Hunt team, to just try and find out what's their best guess of when we're going to have to start drawing funds from that loan, so that we don't get into a situation where we're taking funds that we really don't need, if that makes sense. So, and I don't have that answer yet. Brandon is here from Mead Hunt that will help us with Steve and Monica. It's important to try and target that date. Should we start the process in April of 2023 or May or February? We just don't know yet. So that we don't prematurely take funds that we don't need.
Did the bank give us a time to live for approval?
It sounded like within a week.
Okay, so that's it.
So there'll be more information on that, but I think what you should do today is approve the process, I guess, if you will, to apply or allow me to fill out the application with the Bank of North Dakota. Our experts say that it's appropriate to do so.
Can we get a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for, go ahead, John.
Mr. Chairman, just one question.
Yes.
And we might want to ask them, but do they have an anti-arbitrage clause that, with 2% interest money, we could probably get a little leverage there. If we had to draw money earlier, could invest it short term and probably cover the cost of holding those funds.
So I guess the question is, if we have maturities and securities that haven't yet matured, would we leave those and mature and use the line or use the Bank of North Dakota in lieu of, correct? Yeah, good question.
Arbitrage clause.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
Good. So we have a motion and a second. Any question, discussion? None, roll call.
Lynn?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Captain?
Aye.
Heckman?
Aye.
Aye. Number 9, receive change order Sun Electric.
Mr. Klein? $800 decrease, but there's a way to get there, so.
So there are a couple, actually 3 things in here. So Mead Hunt is in the process of working on a security access control system with Sun Electric and the airport authority. And part of that project was to install new guardrails at all the vehicle gates around the airfield, just to protect the card readers. And what we're able to do is make modifications to that by shortening some and lowering some and using spare parts that the airport authority had on hand rather than buying new materials. And then the other thing that Sun Electric did was there was, that was obviously an overall net decrease, but then there was they had to install some new PVC conduit at around 4 vehicle gates to get the fiber optic to the card reader. And the initial plan was to use spares or existing conduits, and there's just 4 of them that they couldn't do that, so they had to bore new conduit. And basically it allowed them to rough in the fiber until the time that they could go back and terminate the fiber. So it sped up the process that each individual gate would be down without a card reader. So that was a $4,800 deduct for those 2 items. Then also at the request of the airport authority, there was a new camera installed in the tow concourse level. So that was a $4,000 increase. That included the camera, the commissioning, installation, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, it was an $800 decrease for all of those items for this project. So thanks.
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call.
Lynn?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Captain?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 10, receive updated internal controls documents for further projects.
This is a document I guess we've been maintaining in conjunction with IBA since about 1999. This is, I guess, the most recent update to this document that Brady Martz will be reviewing as part of the unit that will actually start, well, it's actually starting, but it's more intensely next week. So I just wanted you to have a copy of it. You can approve this. I guess in the past, the boards has provided copies of it, but if you so choose to approve it, you can. It's a living document. It changes as necessary, and I guess it's worked well for us since 1999.
What's the board's pleasure? Do you want to approve it or just
Receive it.
Receive it.
just receive it?
I'm fine with receiving it.
Receive. Move on to number 11. Received a proposal from Walker Consulting for engineering services associated with parking pre-design in conjunction with the city.
So, group of us, Mr. Patrick, McLean, Commissioner Strand, the mayor, city administrator, city auditor, and Jim Gilmore, not sure his title, strategic planner, been meeting about engaging Walker Consultants who've been involved in some of our parking things here with SP Plus for some time to do a pre-design of a structure, kind of update our master plan, if you will, and where structure should go in the parking lot. They did update the proposal based on our last meeting here a few weeks ago. We're just awaiting the documents to be returned by the city with their signature. The cost is slightly over $40,000, and the city's going to pay half of it. So we'll be in for half of the $43,200 cost. And as soon as we get the signed document back from Mr. Reckenberg, Rick or I will sign the document and get it back to Walker so they can start the process. I think their turnaround is about 60 days for this. So,
Do we want to have it approved or it's under the purchase deadlines? We don't have it approved. Okay. Request a motion for the joint venture in this process.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion, questions? Discussion? None?
Lynn?
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Capitan?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Move on to number 12, Flint Group presentation.
So, the Flint team. We don't have a circle there for you to stand on, but you can see yourself in the screen. So, all right, so go ahead and introduce yourselves and,
I'm Lauren Pendike, media planner at the group. I'm Kelsey Miller. I am the account services representative, replacing Tara. I know that you guys are pretty close with her. So.
I'm Georgina Orn. I'm PR and social media specialist on the account.
Yeah. And then online we have Alan Josephson, who will be presenting. He's our creative director. He's going to be presenting some new concepts for 2023.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
so can the people online see that? Kara and John Screeper, can you guys see that?
Sure can.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
I think that'll be fun.
Speak loud and.
Yeah, perfect. So to start, what we'll do is go over 2022, just recap results that we've done, and then move into 2023. We'll have 2 items to approve. First, the budget for everything, once you see the strategy behind it, and then the creative concept out of the 3 that you guys would like to move forward with. So we'll start with a paid media review.
Okay, so in 2022, we had the still reduced budget from COVID, so we were at about $88,975. We did a little bit of TV there, radio, some print, and then some digital tactics. I cannot read the screen from here, so I'm sorry. I know we did some display ads in there, some video. We were using Google and another vendor for digital. And then if you go to the next slide. There we go. So some numbers in here you can see with display ads and through Google and Simplify had the most amount of impressions. That's the graph there on the left, and then the tactics that got the most amount of clicks were the Google display ads and then boosted posts that the social team ran. Here we have some exact numbers. So Simplify display, we got almost 3.5 million impressions and 5,244 clicks. Through that, we had a click-through rate, which is people clicking from our ads to your guys' website. We had a click-through rate of 0.15%, which is above benchmark. YouTube ads, we had almost 1.5 million impressions for 853,000 views. And for that, we measured that with a view-through rate, which was 58.41%, which is people that watched the video through 100%, and that was also above benchmark, which is great. Google display ads, we had 4.2 million impressions for over 26,000 clicks, and also that we had above benchmark CTR of 0.62%. And then through the Facebook boosted posts, we had over 228,000 impressions, 8.5 thousand clicks, for 3.72 click-through rate, which is well above benchmark of 0.9.
And then we'll kind of touch here on public relations. So in 2022, we had 179 mentions of Hector Airport. That doesn't include any weather updates or paid or ads. And we have a couple features here that did well in 2022. The expansion and the economy parking lot and the MOU agreement being signed.
179 mentions were.
I'm sorry.
Where's the 179 mentions?
That's overall in 2022. Those three were just the features of the top three featured in 2022. And in the next slide.
Your question is mentioned where, like on TV?
Oh, media, television,
Local.
and radio.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Sorry about that. And same thing with Lori. I'm having a hard time reading that because it's a little hard, but this is the breakdown of the coverage. There's 79 mentions in Hector, and then in the 74 on the bottom, those were not exclusively focused on the airport. So example, the Honor Flight coverage, the Bison flying in, and then the DOT project. And this is the exposure, again in 2022. Exposure is everything of Hector being mentioned. There's a spike in January, and that's of the MOU assignment. And then in October, there was another blip of the Fargo Jet Center expansion. And then going into the reach here, this is potential viewers. And we had another blip in January, and same thing, there's more coverage for the MOU assignment. And that performed better because there was coverage on the Associated Press, and that gave out more engagement. And then in March, there was another with 64, and this was on Yahoo News. A Ukraine family fled from the war. They flew into Park Rapids and they landed in Hector, and that's where that spike was. And then again in December, there was more coverage because of the holiday travel. And then here's the insights, and then in that graph on the right there, that's just the trending coverage that Hector is getting on the themes. So coverage across all 12 months of 2022, estimated reach of over 199 million. Coverage is a mix of radio, television, print, and online. All coverage had neutral or positive sentiment, and Hector has a very good relationship with local media. And now jumping into social media, impressions is the number of times content has been shown to individuals, and we're looking around 6 million impressions, and then there's kind of a breakdown for you on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then going into engagement, that is the interactions with users on platforms, and looking at about 330,000. And audience growth, we had about 493 on all three platforms. There was a decrease in Twitter with losing 21 followers. However, this is nothing concerning to Flint Group because it's common to lose and gain followers throughout the year. And then going into the best performing posts in 2022, we had a retirement post, and this kind of shows that showing real people behind a platform. A lot of people like to engage with that, so humanizing a brand in any way. So if you need any more content of retirements or anywhere we can show people. And then looking into the TSA PreCheck, that was the next performing post, high engagement, always with the luggage giveaway, and as well with hiring. They received consistent impressions and engagement through all posts, and posts outside of flight promotion, again, performed the best in 2022.
Perfect. And then another thing we did this year is we launched the new design of the website. So that went live in November. I think it's working pretty well, and it's going to be really nice for users to navigate now with easy access to parking and flights. So moving into 2023, a big thing to note with this is since travel has moved back to like pre-COVID numbers, we are using pre-COVID budget because we believe we can put more money in and get better impressions and more exposure now that people aren't as afraid for travel. So here we're going to go over our goals, paid media recommendation, social media recommendation, public relations, and then a presentation for new creative. So our goals in 2023, we want to keep Hector top of mind with Fargo regional travelers, especially leisure travel. We want to increase awareness of the regional airlines and flights at Hector. We want to increase engagement with Hector travelers on social media, and then maintain that awareness of news and projects at Hector. So to start, we'll go over our paid media recommendation.
Okay, so our targeting is 25 to 54-year-old leisure travelers within a 200-mile radius of Fargo. So that goes south to Alex, Sioux Falls, Jamestown, Winnipeg, DL, that range there. We want to continue a strong digital presence with Google Display, YouTube, online streaming, digital radio. We'll also hit on more traditional tactics as well, which includes TV, radio, print. So we went back to the pre-COVID dollars, as Kelsey had mentioned, for a net media budget of $170,000.
Walk up there.
Yep.
Put it in slide.
Oh, okay, I'll do this. Sorry. Okay, so for TV, we're flighting that, which means that we're doing it in a couple of different chunks there. So we're gonna hit the spring for spring breakers, so March to April, as well as in Q4, so another flight in October and end of November and December, obviously for our holiday travelers. Okay. And then we'll also are recommending the Bison Sports airing during the games as well. So again, Q4, and then some cable, also Q1 and Q4 there. So total for TV would be $76,275 approximate. And then radio, we're also doing the live reads as we did in 2021 and 2020. So we'll do that again spring and fall. And then we're also recommending the Bison Football Radio Network again. So then total for radio is about $27,800. And then the next chunk, which is this third one here, is print. So that's why it's kind of spotty there. We have it during, the red marks are where it prints. So we have the Bison Illustrated, Prairie Business. We'll do a few different issues there to get different publication themes. So the one in March, I know it has business travel in there, so we want to do that one for sure. And then the travel guide, ND travel guide, the FM Chamber Directory, the 24 to 25 Bison Sports program, and then the last one there, the long red line, is for the FM Red Hawks, having an outdoor signage there. So that comes to about $20,050. And then the last chunk here is digital. We have more online display that we, a lot of it we ran last year, but then we are adding in doing Valley News Live, some display ads there. So our ads would just show up on their website, as well as the Forum Communications. We would be within their display network there, and then the Google Display Network. And then targeting for Google would be North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and parts of Canada. For Forum, we would do within a 100-mile radius of Fargo. And then we're also recommending video, so we do YouTube ads again, as we did in 2020. And then adding in OTT and CTV, which are people that stream TV as opposed to watching it traditional. Both of those we'd want to, again, target North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Canada, within that 200-mile radius of Fargo there. And then the one difference from 2020 pre-COVID, we're recommending adding in some digital radio so that we can reach people that stream as opposed to traditional radio. We can, really target travelers better for that. And you get a relatively low CPM, have a low CPM for that with reaching a different market there. So total for digital, we have 45,800.
And then going into 2023 with earned media and public relations, so more proactive pitching on stories around passenger numbers and the ease of using Hector versus other airports. Continue promoting the arts partnerships, collaboration, and continue supporting and participating in TSA media opportunities, the terminal expansion project updates. And North Dakota Today is a great opportunity to showcase the things happening in the airport and the community, and again, any things going on with TSA, the arts partnership, and with the updates. So continue with the positive mentions we've gotten to Hector going into 2023. And then with social media, we're going to maintain growth and engagement on all platforms. So post more relevant topics, including resourceful travel tips, alerts and any updates within TSA, giveaways, timely low fares, new routes and announcements, and spotlight more airlines. Increase unit-generated content. The photo booth does really great, showing, again, real people, humanizing the brand, and any more prompts we can get travelers to submit their content, whether that's at the airport or on their Fly Fargo vacations. And right now we are boosting Low Fare Friday posts, so every Friday we're boosting, and looking into 2023, boost the best performing weekly post. Best practice is to let a post run organically for a week, and then going back to the previous week and seeing what performed best, and then boosting that content.
Yeah, can I interrupt real quick? What I'm not seeing on there is it goes back to kind of the goals and what you're kind of promoting. And we've got, Hector, things that are happening at Hector aren't really top of news for a lot of people, right? So but what I think you need to really do is kind of hit kind of the big stuff that's been happening, like the new economy lot is open, right? And nobody really knows about it. You guys I haven't seen any posts on it or anything like that. I haven't seen anything in your plan going ahead. Reserve parking pricing, we were just talking to SP Plus about, hey, did you know that you can reserve a parking spot and save, on the daily rate? And that's not in there too. I think that needs to also be in there. The new terminal expansion, you have it in that last slide there, but that's gonna be huge. That's a huge amount of money. It's going to affect everybody who comes through here and want to attract new people to come here from Sioux Falls, like you said. And then the new parking plaza, as soon as that's done in January, that's going to be the exit point for everybody. And I think that everybody should probably hear that that's a new thing. So I'm not seeing some of that kind of stuff in the direction that you're kind of posting. You're talking about, hey, we're going to talk about giveaways and timely low fares and stuff like that. But we do have some infrastructure things that are new that is going to affect the users of the airport, and I would like to see some of that stuff get out as well.
Yep, and we do post about that. We posted about the East Economy lot, released a press release on it, so that's been out there. And we kept this a little bit generic, but we do have, January has 2 posts about parking, both reserving parking and the East Economy lot. So we have all that in there. Apologies, I wanted to keep this tight and kind of generic, but parking is a big thing that we're going to promote along with the terminal expansions.
Okay.
East Economy lot was on all the TV stations. They all came out and filmed it. I did some interviews on that, and then it was flooded on the radio. I mean, the flag ran it for almost a week. EY ran it, Forum had an article on it. So,
And I think that's a big reason too, why we wanna start boosting more on Facebook, because Facebook, Instagram, Twitter have really started limiting their audiences unless you pay for it. So we really need to reach more people more efficiently, so that's a big reason we wanna shift some dollars into boosting as well to get better performance.
Thanks.
So when you talk about, like, say, the Facebook.
Yep.
And Instagram and Twitter, are you, are you the moderator, or are you the ones that are posting all the updates and
Yes,
everything?
we are.
And so, is the Hector International Airport for Facebook?
That might be a location page that someone created.
Okay,
Ours is Hector, it's probably Hector Fargo Airport. It has a red logo
okay,
right there.
this one?
Yep.
Okay. And so, it says like we've got 18,000 people that like it.
Mhm.
Do people that don't like it, do they see the posts?
Not often, that's why we want to boost, to get the people that don't like our page to see these. It helps us reach an audience. You can target differently based on, people who like the page and their friends to reach that audience, and then two by demographics, geography.
Okay.
So that's another thing, is we need to reach more than those 18,000 followers.
So when you give away the luggage, then is that like we'll give away luggage if you like our page, so you see our
Yeah.
posts or something?
Yeah, so then by getting more engagement and interaction, that will show on other people's pages
Mhm.
because their friends like it, friends comment, so it starts generating more on the algorithm for Facebook, so then we show up on more people's pages.
Okay, maybe we could do parking promotion,
Mhm.
like a day free or
Yeah.
or something like that if you like, or a way to get more people
Yeah, we
to be
definitely,
following the social media.
yeah, we
That
definitely
wouldn't
wanna
really
take
cost us much.
2023 as a year to kind of amp up more engagement on social media.
I'm just concerned about the only 18,000.
Yeah,
How we can get more people.
it is a
So
pretty good
they
one
see
for a
it.
regional airport, yeah.
Alright, other questions for
No.
the flip group? John, anything? No. We need a motion to approve.
you're gonna show
We
the
still have more-
2023
we have more
figures,
stuff.
so a little bit more from what- So this is the last year of the 3-year program for what you're currently seeing visually on our websites, the TV. Now they have to create a new one for the next 3 years. So,
Yep.
if you can go through that quickly.
Yep, so Alan, if you're on, you can present 2023 concepts.
You'll have to decide which one you like.
Tell me if you see.
Yep, he's
Alan's
right
on.
in the corner.
Yeah, I'm on. For some reason, Zoom isn't allowing me to share my screen here. Let me open system preferences here, so let me see if I can find Zoom quick and get this resolved. Back on the way. Zoom. Okay, let's see if that worked.
All right.
We're good.
Okay, perfect, sorry about that. All right, we're running short on time, so I'm gonna run through these pretty quickly. The first concept should be very familiar to you. It's the one we've been running for a couple of years now. It's just adjusted to remove the COVID info, a little more relevant to today's travelers. Very destination-based and aspirational, really positioning to the leisure travelers. You can see a couple options here. Allows us with photography to kind of highlight specific destinations as well. Second concept is also destination-based and both aspirational as well, but it uses the portfolio to kind of tell a story in an interesting way. And it's it's a quick read and easy to understand. So here we have a golf vacation, so it's far to par. Or we could do one to Denver, for example, that's far to ski, or to Phoenix, that's far to OMG, the Grand Canyon. Really has a lot of legs, opportunity to grow. We could do, for example, far to wow, or far to jam, or we could show kind of a Nashville scene, live music. We could do far sun, far fun, for Orlando, far spa. So the opportunities to grow are kind of endless with this one. So that's the second concept. And then last but not least, we have this versus campaign. And, you know, here we're kind of comparing Actor to the Minneapolis experience. So it's Fly Easy, Fly Fargo. And we're kind of highlighting the inconveniences of the drive on this one, bathroom stop versus nonstop. Kind of using the Hector logo as sort of a visual here, a visual nod to the Hector brand. Another one could be driver's seat versus window seat, or tailgaters versus tailwind. And then this doesn't just have to work. We're only showing examples here of, again, the drive, you know, to Minneapolis, but it can also be aspirational too. We could do things like daily grind versus time to unwind, or wintry mix versus margarita mix, for example. So it has legs beyond this. So those are the three options we're pitching today. We're open for discussion, or happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Questions from the board? Questions?
Pick one of those.
Also, you could do, like, it takes as long to fly to, you know, Phoenix as it does to drive to Minneapolis if you're going nonstop.
So you'd like some idea of which concept they're moving forward with?
Yes, it'd be.
2 or 3.
And one thing to note with this, the first concept would cost about up to $5,000 since you're just updating current creative with copy. The other two would be up to probably $20,000, and along with that, we will do a whole presentation for video, radio, and other formats, so you can see how it would play out in each tactic.
And so we can only pick one because you want to just have one concept.
Yes, and
For how
then
long?
we'll flesh that one out and present the whole brand to you.
For how long will that run?
It will run, right now, what we've been doing in the past is up to 3 years. But we can leave that all up to discussion too, now that travel has picked back up.
Yeah, we tried to build concepts that would have a pretty long shelf life, since you typically keep them up running for 3 years. So all of these concepts can pretty much do that.
Which one do you like, Commissioner Strand?
I didn't like the third one. I like the first the best, but it ties into Fargo's theme too. Our own marketing for Fargo, far more. You know, it connects to other marketing, maybe, but it's.
That's branding. You want your brand to all be the same, so.
So number one's choice is just an update to content. Number 2 and 3 are new. Costs for number 1 minimal, 2 and 3 substantial. Board have an opinion?
I would agree with Commissioner Strand to say that keep the branding the same as what the city brand is pushing out at the same time. The only thing I don't like is the 3-year timeline. I think it would get a little stale after 3 years. I think you can do a lot better. If we're paying the amount of money we're doing, I think we could do it more often, change it out. So.
Agreed.
Which one it is? Who's gonna make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve number 1.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Discussion? None? Roll call.
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Heckman?
Aye.
Capitan?
Aye.
Aye. Gonna sneak in this one, let them take it like that. All right, thank you.
Oh, and then, it's a plan for 2023 aside from that, it's
Yes.
okay.
That's all.
Yeah. Number 13, receive proposed contract for Mead and Hunt for apron expansion design build, or bid, excuse me.
So your approval of this today would be subject to the completion of an independent fee review, which was shown is underway. We had some conversation with him yesterday. This is for the expansion of the terminal apron to the east to accommodate the anticipated expansion of the terminal building. The proposed fee is $738,500. You can approve that today, subject to the completion of the fee review that the FAA requires.
Can I just ask one more question about the group? So what we approved was the 2023 marketing plan to continue that, or did we?
Both. The
So-
marketing plan and the concept one.
Okay, and then that's just for 2023, and then we're gonna look at the next 3-year plan?
Concept one would continue for up to 3 years, but based on what Mr. Lynn said, they have the ability to change this after, if we feel that it's stale or something different, at any time, you can redirect them to off of one of the other concepts that was concept.
Okay,
So
and
they can always keep it fresh.
do we ever put it out to bid for other marketing groups?
We haven't for some time, I guess, but we've always chosen to do it. Flint has had it since 1990.
Okay.
They've done a phenomenal job for us.
Thank you.
So back to 13, we will need a motion. Second.
And the motion is to receive the proposed contract for $738,000. Approve it, and then that is subject to the independent fee review. Okay, I'll make a motion as so moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Discussion none. Roll call. Mint.
Aye.
Cosgrove?
Aye.
Tam?
Aye.
Heckman?
Aye.
Aye. Move on to number 14, airport construction and security update.
Jerry, you wanna go first?
Sure. Things are going well at the exit plaza. We are on track to have a CO before, on or before the 13th of January. Right now, they're painting, they're gonna be installing flooring next week. Probably the thing that obviously is being held up a little bit is from the weather of the outside skin of the project. We'll see. They have asked to get more people here on that, but the idea is flash parking will not come in and do anything with regards to moving the equipment until we have an occupancy certification, which kind of makes sense. That way, everybody will be in, in the employees for SD plus flash parking will be working together to install everything in the building and then be able to open. That I don't know with regards to how long it's going to take flash parking to get their stuff up and ready. So we're literally within a week of what we hope we would be when we started the project. So it's gone well. Any questions?
Questions from the board?
No questions, thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot, I guess, on the East Economy lot, all the work is essentially done, it's substantially complete, the lot is up and operational. They got the light poles up, the missing 3 light poles, so that's all done. That being said, there still is some corrective work and punch list items to address in the springtime. So make final payment. And then on the access control project, I guess Sun Electric just continues to work inside the building, over the course of the winter here, so.
Give any update on the South GA. We've met with the tenant quite a few times on the reconstruction and
Yeah, so South GA project, we're working on a design to reconstruct it. The goal is to have that done by April, the bids open by April, so we can constructed in the summer of '23. This week, we're calling it our 60% submittal. We'll get to the airport authority and the FAA for their review. Same thing for the North GA. We continue to work on that. That 60% submittal will come after the new year. It's just delayed a little bit from the South GA project. So
We'll talk about the soil borings just a little bit to put out, did a number of soil borings out there, and of course there's a lot of things from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s, and 70s that are out there. And we did find some soil borings that contained fuel in the soil borings. So once you remove the concrete and get down into that base material, Jeff's been working with the State Health Department. We'll start working with the FAA on what needs to be done to remediate any from fuel tanks or whatever else that's out there to get that resolved so that we can move forward with the project. So that's to be determined, probably more so once you get the concrete off, find out the extent of any contamination and then what we have to do to remediate.
That's the South GA?
Yes.
Okay. How many borings and samplings did they do in the area?
there were 60 borings, and then Terracon, when they took the borings, they took soil samples out of each of the borings, and then they, I had sent it off to Sean here, but then they made basically like a grid saying, okay, at this boring location, its contamination is at this level, at this depth. It doesn't say what specifically the contaminants are, just as contamination there. So now we got to go back and try to identify what the contaminants are, and then work with the Department of Health to come up with a remediation plan. So more to come on that. So
thank you.
The only other thing, before we get to the visual preference review, is November was a record November since 1931, so we are trending in the right direction. Hopefully that continues, but anything else to add? I think it's going to be a frustrating travel week with the weather forecasts around the country, let alone what happens here. It's in our connecting hubs. The weather forecast isn't very favorable, so there might be a lot of disappointed people trying to get out of Fargo and other locations around the country that can't connect because of the weather. Chicago being the primary one, possibly Minneapolis later this week. So stay tuned.
All right, move on to number 15, meet and hunt presentation of the visual preference.
Floor is yours.
All right. So if we can share this screen, PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, yeah, it'll, and then we'll go to slide. Maximize. The upper left pointing this. Okay. There we go. All right. That is correct. Yeah.
And I'm gonna let you sit so you can go through it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Okay.
That'll make it a little easier.
Oh, whoops. Oh, you got a sneak peek of what's that.
So go ahead and introduce yourself, along with Matt and the team.
Okay. If it, I think it'll be okay for now, but if anybody has any trouble seeing it, dim the lights.
Can everyone online see it? Scraper or anybody online, can you see this?
Yeah, yes, we can.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So it's great to see everybody again. Brandon with Mead and Hunt. We want to do a visual preference survey today, which is going to be an interactive experience. But before we do that, we just want to do a recap of how we got here and where we're at and then where we're going over this next year. So we did do, over this past year, we completed the terminal study issued in end of October. And that gave us a solid foundation to work off from based on current needs and then 20 years out. So that's our foundation that we're starting with the study. And that's been submitted and approved by the FAA. So now we're moving into the design phase. First part of that design phase is schematic design. That part of design is going to take us through the end of February. And then after schematic design, we move into design development. That stretch will be going through July. And then from design development to construction documents will take us to the end of the year. And then at that point, goes out for bidding and pricing, and then we get contractors on board and get all set to start in 2024. So that's the overview. Schematic design is a lot of input. I mean, we want to hear from you. We did touch on this a bit during the study, during input sessions on kind of a vision idea. We got a lot of input from the user groups. So we're going to be doing another round of meetings with the user groups to solidify what exactly their needs are, and then funnel into detail. You know, right now we have kind of the square footage, the volume of space they need, and the adjacencies, but we need to dial in exactly how they function in that space. So that's schematic design and design development. Today, for the visual preference survey, we want to gather your input on what your vision is for this project. What we're going to be asking open-ended questions. We have matching, and then we have some visuals to just get a snapshot what for you to prioritize it. Some of these images and what is attractive, and that is meant for not to be dissected, but to when you see these images, a reaction that happens to, you know, all of us. As we walk into a space, we have an initial reaction. We don't dial in necessarily on anything specific, and that's what we're looking for you from when you see these images. We are maybe pushing the boundaries of technology a little bit for some. This survey is based on phones. So if you don't feel comfortable or don't have a smartphone, we have paper as well to follow along, and then you can just write alongside what your answer is, or circle your answer as well. But I encourage everybody to try the smartphone. You may be familiar with it. QR code. We're going to post a QR code, and then you just open up your camera, take a picture of it, or you don't have to take a picture of it. Something will highlight around it, and you just click on that, and it takes you right to the survey. So we'll give that a try. We have helpers as well to get that set up, and then once we get everybody set up on that, we can start going through the survey. So I'm going to hand it over to Matt Doobie. I think everybody is familiar with Matt. He's our design and market leader, and he's going to kind of facilitate this effort.
Thanks, Brent. Good morning, everybody. Before we start, I was really pulling for your brand identity to be far out. That's just me. I thought that was a fun way to launch you out there. So just to go back in the last, the kind of the findings of our planning study is that we showed the existing terminal in white, and then the facilities that we're expanding to the right. It's a net gain of 4 gates. So it's a significant capacity increase in terms of baggage movement, passenger movement, but also touch gates or touch points at the gate, and then concessions. So we feel this will be a considerable revenue generator as well, but just a better overall passenger experience. So this survey, we just want it to be, the first thing that comes to mind And the reason we like to do this is because this is almost like a speed dating session for visioning. Sometimes we'll do all-day sessions on visioning, and I think we don't need to do that for this. But what it does is it provides a baseline filter for us to take all design input and then design direction into the future. So the findings that we have today from some of the things that you'll see up there, we're gonna use that to influence us, because it's your airport, it's not ours. And so we want this to directly reflect your vision, but also the community's vision. All right, so as Brandon said, take your phone if you could and just focus on that. And then it should pop up and just hit on that piece.
Any other opt-out or paper copies? Well, this is really encouraging.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
How are we doing? Did everybody
I'm gonna die in about 3 seconds.
All right, paper copies. Flip phone. I was watching for the flip phone, see if they come out, I was gonna flag it.
I need paper. My phone's gonna die in about 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. And for anybody online, if you don't have your phone there, you can just plug that into your, to type that in so you can access this as well.
Yes, thanks. So,
For those of us online,
yep.
For those of us watching online, it says that the meeting is underway, but the poll is not active yet. It has not been made active.
Yes.
You're in the right spot.
You're in the right spot. So we'll be activating these questions as they come, and you'll be able to see some of the results, and that's live. So that's the big advantage of this.
You guys get to work ahead.
All right. Everybody ready to go? Anybody not ready to go online? All right. If you get kicked out or whatever reason, we still have the QR codes up in the right-hand corner on the succeeding slides. All right. So we're starting out here. Activity 1. It will.
Okay.
So the first question is, what one word positively describes Fargo? So Tom, if you could activate that question. This will come up here. And awesome. So the words that come up bigger mean that multiple people have put those in. So yeah, we got a lot of friendly, welcoming, community, growth.
We also have a bad word filter on here, so you can't put these things in.
Please don't test it, okay?
It's fun, isn't it? I mean, it's a good way to do it almost as an art collage, but these are these things that are define the airport.
Forward, downtown, growing, modern. Fantastic. Convenient, resilient. Great. Manageable.
Education, Bison University, things of that nature as well. It's,
Yeah.
important.
Put in snow.
Very good.
Or cold.
Farming.
That was up
Or
there.
with a filter.
Yeah.
Well,
Those are the bad words.
Right. All right. Yeah, all good words, good phrases.
Brandon, are we saving this? Yeah, we're saving this as a snapshot. You'll see this in future meetings. It'll kind of just
remind you of some of the things that we landed on, but we'll use this as almost a graphic identity or the genesis of design.
Right, yeah, good question. All right, so Tom, if you could deactivate that poll. And then the next question, it's open-ended question, what do you like most about the existing terminal? Ease of use. Easy. Convenient.
Sounds like a trend.
Convenient. Easy. Access. Convenient. Easy in, easy out. Yeah, and for those saying easy, what is easy about it? Just easy to navigate?
I would say compared to, say, flying out of Minneapolis.
Very
easy.
Yeah, yeah, nice.
Curb to gate.
Small and easy to navigate, easy to use, fast, clean.
Are we supposed to be able to see the answers? Because it sounds like you're able to see them, but we are not.
You know, I think you have to.
We just see the PowerPoint.
Oh,
I think you gotta
oh.
share the edge screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me do this. Should I do a new share?
Yeah, you're probably gonna wanna just share the
And I think
screen.
the edge will
versus
show.
sharing the-
I'm gonna share the
there you
screen,
go.
and that should work. Can you guys see that now?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. All right, good. Efficient, easy to check in, convenient, quick access. The entry atrium, lobby design, and TSA interior design.
Wow.
Put that. Clean, quick. Thanks, Terry.
I did not say that.
Small footprint makes it easy to navigate. Airport authority. Quiet, not hectic.
That's right.
Easy to get in. Clean, efficient, very good. This is great. Low waiting times. We definitely see a trend here. All right, we're gonna keep on moving. Simple drop off, pickup, efficient, clean wayfinding. Great. Third question, another open ended. What could be improved at the existing terminal? More dining options. That's a good one. Concessions. One exit lane. Concessions. More dining. FB.
Food and beverage.
Food and beverage options. Okay. More food, drink, more restaurants. Yeah, definitely seeing a trend here. Parking. Seating. Concessions and amenities, dining and concessions, large waiting rooms. Yeah, those are the departure lounges I'm assuming you're referring to. More services after security, better post-security concessions, lighting, covered parking. Growth will dictate expansion of the lobby and TSA, larger gate space, bigger departure lounges with more seating, more shop and dining options, larger restrooms. Has no atmosphere, feels blah, not a memorable space. Updated decor, dining and concessions opportunities, place for kids, okay. Better concourse flow. More modern. dining. Great, additional airline options. Dining. All right, you can. Thanks. All right, we're gonna areas to work, countertops, plugins, more gate space. Great, all great response. Bathrooms on the east end. Better designed gate lines to prevent crowding. Seating options. All right, we're gonna keep on moving here. This is all good aim. All right, now I know it's time to keep moving here. All right, number 4, open-ended question. Another open-ended question. List any regional influences, historical, economic, social, natural, that could be reflected in the design.
My screen says choose top 3 airport amenities.
Yeah, mine's good.
Oh, all right.
We can always just. Tom, you were sequential on that?
Yes. Okay, yeah, let me look here. All right, I'm gonna go this route. Bear with me a second here. Oh yeah, that is the right one. Okay, choose the top 3 airport amenities that are listed. So let me go back to that. And
are these, if I can ask, are these the amenities you want or that are today?
Could be either.
Yeah.
So the top 3 amenities to you that should be represented here. It could be here, but and see that you can vote 3 times. So just pick one and then.
Okay.
You're skipping one.
There we go.
What happened to number 4?
We'll see at the end. We might come back to that.
Okay.
We'll come back to it one way or the other. All right. Comfortable seating, concessions, daylight, views to the airfield. Those seem to be the top ones here. Family, children spaces, 5%, green space 5. Good. All right. So yeah, it's looking like daylight, views to the airfields, concessions, comfortable seating. Trends we're seeing in some of the other answers too. Great.
They are all good answers.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Next one, cross our fingers, is actually choose top 3 design priorities.
And these are for moving forward.
Yes, yeah, thanks. Sustainability, beautiful design, practical, regional character, resilient, or something other. We're getting a lot of beautiful design, recognizable, photogenic. Sustainability, performance driven and low energy use. Regional character, local influences, reflective of the region. Resilient, weather tight, can appreciate that. Durable, maintenance free. Practical. So yeah, we're seeing that's great. High numbers on. It's actually pretty well rounded, but seeing high numbers and beautiful design and regional character. Good. Good. All right. Next question is multiple choice. Choose top 3 words describing the new terminal expansion. We got iconic, dynamic, calming, playful, colorful, discovery, exciting, familiar, quiet, neutral. Pretty serious group, nobody choosing playful here. Dynamic being popular, iconic, exciting, calming, yeah. Good. Good, so yeah, it seems like a high-end dynamic, iconic, calming, exciting, discovery, great input, thank you. All right, next open-ended question, what economic drivers are critical to the long-term prosperity of Greater Fargo?
For example?
Agriculture.
University, like
how does the airport involved in that, or what?
Just almost from your catchment area, the people that are using the airport, what are the things that potentially should be reflected in the design that influence this community, the success of this community?
Okay.
You know, higher ed is always an important like an area like this, but there might be agriculture, there might be technological, just whatever you feel is.
Yeah, we had heard once before, like agricultural technology.
But we've also seen restaurant scene in some places that's important, you know, that for a certain demographic.
That's good. Yeah, technology is one of the bigger ones here. That's great. Business, people, community, agriculture. Downtown, absolutely. Tourism. Great, we're getting yeah, widespread here. Recreational. Good input. Thank you. All right, next question. Open-ended. What would you like a first-time visitor to know about Fargo? Our filter didn't work. We are underrated, welcoming. Lots of things to do. Great restaurants. I'm gonna attest to that first. Affordable. Dynamic. Friendly. People are friendly. Family friendly. Not always. Local restaurant, this must be referring to the temperatures today. More to offer, diverse, welcoming, a hub of opportunity, good one. History, safe. Progressive, agreed. Vibrant. Growing and trendy. Relaxed. Friendly.
Football.
Great. Welcome.
I thought that would be your job.
Great downtown. Yes. Bigger than you think. Yeah, for sure. There's more to Fargo than just the snow. Growing. practical, safe. Great events in downtown. Growth oriented. Sunsets are unbeatable. I like it. Unique and vibrant downtown. Bigger than you think. Good. Good input.
Bird
Easy
is
to,
looking for more campaign slogans.
easy to get to, hard to leave. More modern and diverse than people know. Opportunity growing. More cowbell. All right. I like the movie. All right, we're gonna keep moving here. So the next question, open-ended. A first-time visitor would be surprised to learn about this about Fargo.
History.
You know, and some of these things I think you could probably reiterate from the previous question. Great history. Ag powerhouse. Leader in business. Best drinking water in the region. Top international business. Fast growing. Home to second largest Microsoft campus. Exceeds expectations. Vibrant. Great art, theater, culture. Flat. Our early history is quite rowdy. That's intriguing. More than just farming community. The river flows north. Great schools. Clean air. Technology hub. Tech companies. Business oriented. It's good. Top rated breweries and restaurants. Not a tiny town. Low cost of living. Fargo has the best airport. How can you get any better than that? Diverse ag manufacturing. Bison. Number of regional and national business. A larger black population than Los Angeles County. Safe community. Friendliest people. Border city. Great hospitals. Abundance of wood chippers. All right. All right. We got 2 questions left. 3. We're gonna round back to that one. This is a image ranking question. So again, just first impressions. You don't have to dissect the images. We just want to get impressions of you know, your reactions to them. So they're going to show up on your screen, and you would just move them up. Once you touch on them, there's a couple of arrows that show up on the left, and you just move it up or down to rank it. And if you can't see it well on the on your phone.
So we just move it up to the spot we like the best. Which
yeah. So if
to-
you touch it, there's some arrows that should show up.
Okay.
There.
Is there any way you can put the image up there so we can see it?
Materials, spaces, volumes, I mean, just
Right.
things that appeal to you.
I'm still on the old question.
Can you put do we have like a bigger?
Yeah, thanks.
I'm still on the other question, the last question.
Can you? Oh, Tom, can you? Was that last question deactivated?
If you refresh it down at the bottom, you should be.
There, now I can.
Hopefully that'll know.
Eric, it's your government computer.
Mm.
Did it refresh here?
Yeah, it's a refresh.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll give a couple, like a few more seconds here so you can see the images a little larger, and then I'll go back to our poll ratings so you can see where they're ranked.
And not all of these images are airports.
Okay. Were you guys able to resubmit if, I mean, after seeing the larger image, if that changed your perspective on it? We'll do that, the same thing. If you want to wait, I'll show the larger images if you're having trouble seeing it on your phone. All right, good input. Okay. Oh, yeah, so Tom, can you deactivate activity 11? Okay. All right, so 12, another image ranking. Pull up the bigger images here. There you go.
They're also different. I wish we were comparing like all interiors to all interiors.
Oh.
Or seating to seating to seating. You know, like I'm
sure.
Like
We will get to that.
like I'm
I
looking
think-
at one, it's like, oh, I like the wood, but I like the soft seating.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to rank. And it's the same, we've got exteriors compared to interiors.
Well, plus even the color.
Yeah.
You know, what is some of this, some people are offended by certain colors, and so that's, we kind of wanted it all over the board here. So when we step onto the next presentation like this, we'll have a little bit of better direction, but we'll still have that ability to influence it at that point.
Okay.
And it's not counting it out, it's just kind of priorities of what's floating towards the top and what's just kind of towards the bottom. So if it's a 1 or 2, that's
But you don't have the images numbered, so you don't know.
on what? Numbered?
Well, it says rank the preferred images, but how are you gonna rank something when you don't have them numbered?
So for you, you can just literally put a number next to each image on that if you want to.
Well, you don't have a number on those images.
I gotta go back to them.
You can just rank them 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, you would literally number it 1, 2, 3, 4.
A number right above or right beside.
Oh, I thought we were up on this one.
Oh, on the
Like your
previous
Oh.
one.
other one you like.
Yeah, let's see.
I can go back to that, I just want to. There you go. All right, so that was the last one. Yes, we are. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I wanted to kind of show the poll here before we. There we go. Okay. Good. And then we're gonna go back to the one that we apparently skipped over. Was that number 4? What could be improved? Choose top 3 airport amenities. regional influence.
So,
Thanks, Tom. Okay. All right, list any regional influences, historical, economical, social, or natural, that could be reflected in the design. Agriculture. Good. That's silver. Bison. Roger Maris. Wheat. Harvest. Wood, stone. Perpetual wind. Prairie. Technology. Aeronautical history. Prairie. Partnerships. Prairie. Technology. Lakes. ND had the largest farms in the USA at the turn of the century. Agriculture. Wide open spaces. The river. Sure. The Badlands. Scandinavian and German heritage, Native American culture, local nature, outdoor activities, tech, agricultural tech, plains, great. Native Americans, prairie, embrace winter, modern, good, hip and cool. Education. Prairie. Crops. Bison, fish, sunflowers, wheat, old photos of the areas in the late 1800s. Friendly people. Railroad. Flood. Stubborn.
That's a little harder to reflect.
Have areas that feel more like a domestic space, fireplaces, conversation pits, etc. Downtown, local art. Yes, for sure. Fighting hawks.
That's not
Wildlife. Okay, yeah, we'll all right, a lot of
You
great.
got some lawyer
The person Fargo is
fighting
named
hawks.
after. All right, this is great information. That is what we had for our initial round of questions. I know it's a lot of input that we appreciate it, but it gives us a lot of information to and direction on as we start to develop the schematic design, come up with some of the concepts, and then as we move into design development, we'll have another round of these and go through the design as it evolves here. Do we have any questions? What we went through today, what's to come?
I feel like those pictures probably didn't give you a lot of guidance.
It did, more than you know. There will be more the next round you'll see more images, more specific. We have so many touch points. We have a whole year of as we're going through this design process. This is truly big picture, and it's hard to look at select pictures. Hard for us to pick out pictures that we can really capture your perception. But we got to start big, and then we'll dial it in.
Like I really like the water, but I know it wouldn't be feasible. Like the picture with the water feature, you know, for instance.
Yeah,
Maybe there were other elements we were looking at in that picture, so.
And we will definitely do this exercise more extensively, just talk about just materials, how it makes you feel, and more focused. Yeah.
and that was a big reason why it wasn't just all images to get your reactions, right? We're starting with words, and words with a little guidance of images, and then when we put those all together, it'll help us dial in.
The very encouraging thing out of the early part of this was the words that we saw reflected up there were exactly reflected in the terminal area plan. The areas that we focused on there were reflected in your input. So that was, to me, that was very encouraging.
One thing I noticed about architectural design around lately, it looks like you ran out of material, so you picked up a wood siding splattered there and then a little brick and some other kind of stone, and to me, and I went, maybe that's my architectural background.
No, you're right.
I hate it. I think it looks like Skid Row.
And it doesn't age well. I mean, we recognize, as you do, that this process is gonna unveil a 35-year, a generational project. And so you're not gonna revisit this terminal every 5 years or 10 years. So you need it to sit and age well, perform its function, and be low maintained for 35 years. So you have to take this very seriously.
Yeah, all good input. I am impressed at how many people work the smartphone survey. It's pretty cool when I was first introduced to it. Thank you, everybody.
So there's some comments in the chat. Do you check those, or is it relevant, not relevant? I don't know. That's your word, though.
Yeah.
All right, no worries. Those were addressed.
Yeah, it was all addressed. Yeah, they were just comments on it.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Meeting adjourned.